joining me. My name is Krista McNutt, and I'm from the Center for Teaching and Learning. My role is all focused on open education and open educational resources, so you'll see a little bit of that reflected in the presentation today. So today, I am talking about assignments that live beyond the term. So what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, I'm talking about, let's click my button. I'm talking about assignments that don't disappear into the void. Even though this void obviously is quite beautiful, I've worked with lots of instructors who say, I have my students do an assignment and it lands in the LMS and eClass. No one sees it but me, but it was amazing. And there could be some purpose for this work beyond the grade, right? So I'm talking about things that, assignments where we can create a perceived purpose or meaning. So we know that helps students, that really anchors students' learning. So giving them more perception on what is the purpose or meaning behind this assignment, or a real purpose or meaning. So who could potentially benefit from this assignment that I'm doing? So we're looking at assignments that serve as a function beyond the grade. Of course, the grade is the important functional part that we're looking at, but what other functions could these assignments serve? And things that are accessible beyond the term. So beyond our one term this semester with this section, making it available beyond that. Some examples that we're looking at. So case studies, sample assignments, media collections, written biographies. I'm looking at Neil for that example he shared with me earlier. OER and open textbooks. So those are some ideas of things that can look like assignments that expand beyond the term. Put in more detail, if I'm looking at the left side here, course level, so sharing the assignments from your students beyond the term, perhaps students are developing some supplementary resources to supplement what they're learning in the class already, and then approve that you can share it with other students in the classes in the other sections, in future terms. This can really help them also think through where are my gaps in my knowledge, really assessing what they're learning and what the content is in front of them, and thinking about it a little bit differently and kind of filling those gaps and self-assessing, what do I need more to learn this concept? Also, I've heard lots of instructors mention that they do this already. Sample assignments, right? It's certainly lovely for a student to hear, your assignment was great, can I keep it to show other students in the future? So very simply, having it expand beyond the term, having a repository of sample assignments for students to look at. This can also reach into the program level, not just the one course or not just the course in its subsequent sections, looking at students revisiting and building upon their previous assignments. So instructors partnering with other instructors and saying, what assignment do you have these students doing in the previous year or in the previous term? How can we potentially build on that assignment to really scaffold the learning? Also, students developing case studies. So UBC has some really fabulous examples around this with open case studies that are multidisciplinary. So engaging students in developing case studies as an assignment where it may reach beyond the discipline, beyond the specific course outcomes, and could be usable by other courses and other instructors and other learners as well. And then on the right-hand side, we're talking about industry. So that could also mean discipline. It could mean profession, depending on where your subject matter is. So students' assignments essentially becoming public knowledge. So enabling your students to have their assignments have stronger meaning and a stronger target audience in mind, and really enabling that work to reach beyond the LMS into the online world. That's where we see OER and open textbooks coming into play sometimes. It's also around developing relationships, right? Creating those connections for students beyond their student body and looking into the industry to connect with industry leaders or industry challenges or problems or scenarios, and looking at potentially a problem or a case study or use case that they can address and solve. We see that happening in our classrooms all the time, right? But if we reach it beyond, then that takes it one next step. And we do have the community service learning group on our campus too that has some excellent resources around this. If you're looking at really thinking about it beyond the product itself of the assignment as a product and thinking about it as an experience. So when we look at doing this work, there's kind of three things that I think about when I'm working with an instructor and thinking about where is my assignment going to go next term? And how can I sustain it forward? So the first one is access. How can I really support my students, future students, professionals, and other learners to have access to these resources that my students want to put out into the world? So the library is one place that you can certainly rely on for some guidance on that. But very simply, think about blogging or having your students be able to put their work out online on a website. An open textbook. Our library supports Pressbooks as a free platform to develop open textbooks. So that's one concept that can be moved forward in terms of taking the assignments that students are developing and orienting them towards it being in a product that is a bigger picture than the one grade that they're orienting to. We also look at engagement. So how does this change the engagement strategies that we're involving our students in? How does this change the engagement of our students with other students, our students with participants outside the classroom? And what types of engagement strategies can we involve to really amplify the learning in that way? And that really is case by case. It is very individualized. And then the third thing I'm looking at here is life cycle. So I find that is the one piece that can be lost in this. And it can be the most overwhelming because if we're looking at creating a through line of our assignments so that our students' work can reach the other classes or externally, how do we create a life cycle so that those things are accessible but also regularly updated and available in ways that we deem appropriate and necessary, and create the collaboration that we're seeking, because that often is the goal in mind, is creating in the moment collaboration for our students, but also creating collaboration around the subject matter, whether it's in the faculty or outside the faculty. So I would suggest that conversation really starting within the department, especially if you're looking at collaborating with another instructor. Perhaps it's an initiative that can be piloted in the course and then expanded beyond the course and create a collective around it.